And in a brief moment, we'll be talking of Internet of Things and Internet of Everything, prospects for sustainable development in low and medium income countries. Very quickly, we need to create a background. What is Internet of Things? You would all agree with me that the Internet has changed the face of activities globally, communications and human activities. Internet of Things is a network of physical objects, the connection of physical objects. At the time, it was difficult to connect physical objects, and by physical objects we mean things that you can handle, your appliances at home and all such. But with Internet of Things today, we're able to close that gap between the things we handle. And how have we done this? By the use of sensors. By simply imputing sensors in these devices, we're able to connect these devices. I'll give a typical scenario. There was a time when you left home in the morning and your air condition was on in this age of prepaid meters, and you suddenly realized that the AC was left on. In a place like Nsukka, it's one easy drive. You just take a drive back home. But if you stay in a place like Lagos, where you probably walk on the island and it took you 2.5 hours to get to the island, and then you realize that your air condition was left on at home, the tendency is that you will stay at work throughout that day having high blood pressure, because you would assume that the air condition would have run down the entire unit you have at home. Now with Internet of Things, we say with the use of sensors, we're able to connect our devices, all right, even if we are far away, we're able to program them, put them on or switch them off, as the case may be. Now going a step further is the Internet of Everything. The Internet of Everything goes a step further in the Internet of Things. The Internet of Everything is not connecting devices any longer. We're able now to bring together consumer products, all right, small businesses, machines together to achieve a single need. So in summary, Internet of Everything is a wider concept, all right, of the Internet of Things. Very quickly, in trying to look at the Internet of Things and what are the applications of IoT and IoE. Now, we have seen its application in the field of transportation, all right? Today we hear of self-driving cars, we hear of all such, all right? The next we see it in healthcare. Today we've seen IoT and IoE being brought into the healthcare system. There are patients who are handled by the use of devices. Then one of the key today is the issue of agriculture, and that's what we'll be seeing today. Today we see with the use of IoT and IoE, you can monitor your plants. Sometime in October we were in Abuja, and we're working on different devices and the application of IoT. But one of them was the case where farmers were beginning to use intelligent devices to monitor the pests, all right? Okay, and then by the time they monitor this pest, they know the sound level that chases various kind of pests away. So putting all this in place, you are able to set up this structure. So when that kind of pest comes very close to the farm, it triggers a sound. So when the pest hears that sound, it goes away from the farm. So the farmer is not on site, all right, but with the use of IoT and IoE, he's able to do all of this. All right, in this day and age where fish farming has become the order of the day, we're able to say, at what point am I expected to change the water? All right, at what point am I expected to do X and do Y? All right, so all of this we see IoT and IoE finding strong application in the field of agriculture. As earlier stated, in the home, I've told you that with IoT we've seen smart homes. All right, where I'm probably coming home and probably there's someone who is chasing me from outside, and I have a smart home. I open my gate and drive in and close it. All right, I don't need a gate man to come open the gate. Before he gets there, they shoot him down and then put me behind a boot and take me away. So we've seen strong applications of IoT. And then in environment and disaster, you obviously know that today there are certain places, there are certain disasters that take place, and with IoT you're able to tell exactly the gravity, all right, and know how to bring help. And one other area is in the area of security. Globally today, you know that security has become a challenge, and we've seen the application of IoT and IoE in the area of security. Now, what are the implications of IoT and IoE on low and medium countries? Now, any country today that seems to imbibe IoT and IoE automatically becomes globally visible. All right? You cannot begin to talk of development if you cannot advance in technology. So number one, we begin to talk of global visibility. Number two, if you can take full advantage of IoT and IoE, then there is improved security. Improved security in the sense that we can maximize, especially in a country like Nigeria. Many years ago, I used to work for a company, and that was in the early age of the Boko Haram and the bombings here and there. Now, we had a typical meeting with the Nigerian army, and it was going to be a very funny one. What was the assignment? They wanted us to tag cattle. At that time when the terrorists were using cattle to move, so they wanted us to tag cattle. And the simple issue was that when we tagged these cattle, if a cattle was carrying an arm or something, it would trigger. All right, so we are able to say, oh, you can notify those at so point that so cattle passing you at this time are carrying weapons or stuff like that. So improved security. Now, like we are seeing today, there's also increased yield and productivity. If you're able to deal with issues of pest and know how to manage both crops and animals, then obviously one thing is sure, we can improve our yields and productivity. And also the next thing, with IoT, we're able to reduce the cases of death. All right, there are certain things that humans go under a lot of risk, but with IoT, with devices in place, we can spare lives. And in the process, we increase our GDP, businesses are able to grow, and then in total, we talk of national development. But as exciting as the IoT and IoE is, there are a lot of challenges, especially for those of us in sub-Saharan Africa. And one of the major challenges we are going to face is the issue of power. All right? We cannot run away from this. It's one major challenge in the issue of IoT and IoE. How do we have sustained power? Now, you and I will agree that alternative sources of power have become a challenge because of the cost. All right? How many homes can run on solar today? All right? Solar is not cheap. All right? Aside that, when you talk about some of the challenges, we now begin to talk of cybersecurity. Hackers can take advantage of a smooth process and do something you least expected. All right, a case was told of a lady who was meant to be given insulin at a particular time. Someone hacked into that system and altered the time the insulin should be given to her by some few minutes. And because it came late, the lady died. So there are cases of hackers. And you obviously know that cybersecurity is a major today in the internet world. Now, the other one we must not shy away from is internet availability. You would ask yourself, how much of it do we have around here? Especially for those of us around this area where we find ourselves. You know that internet availability is also a challenge. And closely related to internet availability is the high cost. All right? Is the high cost. How many of us can have data running at home in our absence? All right? So that we can monitor these devices from various locations. You completely agree with me that MTN, Glo, and all those telecoms companies will make a whole lot of money on you. And then there's also the place of lack of technical know-how. It's also a challenge in this path. I want to say Internet of Things and the IoE has come to stay. All right, we have seen its impacts globally, and it's great if we would embrace it. Not minding the challenges. Most times when we are faced with these challenges, we should ask ourselves, what are the benefits accruable to us in all of this? When we look at the benefits in the long term, we'll surely appreciate the fact that IoT and IoE are the mainstay for sustainable development in every middle and small income nation today. And as I close, I want to say to us that when this is completely achieved, then we would obviously say that the SDG goals have been achieved globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now I have an idea of IoEs and also IoTs and